Top 5, a show where we count things down from number 5 to number 1. And this week, listener requests.
They're all
You know what?
requests.
It's not quite as hot as it once was. It's actually cooled off quite a bit. Oh, no, by the time this releases, I mean, we're in the 70s. I'm sure by the time this releases, we'll be down in the 60s as the high temperatures of the day. So why don't we talk about novelty treats? You know, those frozen favorites that you get out of the frozen aisle or from the ice cream truck when it comes into your neighborhood. Top 5 novelty treats, seasonal request. That's what we do here at majorspoilers.com.
That's right. Wrong season, but a season nonetheless.
You know, I think there's some people that I would eat most of the things on my top 5 list any time of the year. Except
There's
for
always room for ice cream.
Except for
I
my number
eat
5.
ice cream year round.
My number 5 is I remember as a little kid, like 3 years old, when I lived in Kansas City. The ice cream truck would come driving around, and every kid in the neighborhood would go running out with their spare change.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to get something until one day I finally had like 75 cents. I can't remember if it was 75 cents. Certainly it couldn't have been that much in 1973.
It was 75 cents.
It could have been 75 cents.
Yeah.
But I got one of these frozen treats that goes from top down, red to white to blue.
Yeah.
And it's shaped like a rocket. And of course, if you're close to the bicentennial, the bomb pop, everybody wants a bomb pop. And I finally got my hands on a bomb pop, and it was a super hot day, and I started eating it, and then the dang thing fell off the stick onto the street.
No.
Yeah. And that was the last time I ever cared about a bomb pop, because here was this great buildup about the bomb pop. Everybody's like, oh, you got to get a bomb pop, bomb pop, bomb pop, bomb pop. And I get a little bit of the red.
You can't take it out of the wrapper. You have to eat it a little bit at a time.
I get a little bit of the red on my lips and on my tongue so that my tongue turns the color. And then the whole thing just slides right off the stupid stick onto the street. And I remember kind of looking down at it and going, well, that's that. A lot of buildup for this. And
that was the end of Steven's childhood.
And pretty much. That was literally the last time.
Put on a little suit and grabbed a suitcase and went off to work.
That is the last time that I ever had a bomb pop. But when we talk about novelty treats, because I'm not somebody that eats ice, I don't eat a lot of desserts. And ice cream is one that I don't eat that much. So yeah, that's why the bomb pop made my list at number 5. Matthew, what do you have for number 5?
Oh, that's a heartbreaker. Bomb pops used to be really big too.
I know, they were. They're like as big as my head, and the thing just slides off, boom, right there on the sidewalk. And I was like, oh, do I pick it up? All my friends are looking. Some of them are like, oh, that's rough, dude. You know, putting the hand on the shoulder. Oh, man, that's so rough. Your bomb pop just right there, melting in the sidewalk. And I'm like, 75 cents. And I knew I couldn't go tell my mom because then I'd get yelled at because I wasted 75 cents literally going down the drain when I could have had in the freezer the little mold where she'd pour the Kool-Aid in, and I could have had that for less than 10 cents a pop. Oh, valuable lesson, ladies and gentlemen, valuable lesson.
Not a valuable lesson. And, you know, I only mentioned the size thing because I do mock you when you mentioned that everything used to be bigger when you were a kid. Mm-hmm. My number 5 was not bigger when I was a kid, and there's a simple reason for that. It didn't exist. I only started eating this as an adult. And the reason why I started eating this as an adult is actually twofold. Primarily, my child, who we shall refer to as the widget until she's 18 and or, married, whichever, is now a vegetarian again. So we have to watch for things that have meat and gelatin and meat byproducts and things. So the other reason is a little bit less pressing. It's just that I'm a really enormously fat man. So I tried to get healthier stuff, and we started getting from the frozen aisle down where they keep all the healthy foods, Outshine creamy coconut popsicles, bars, something. They're shaped like a traditional one-stick popsicle.
Oh yeah, this is like a coconut or a mango bar. Yeah.
This is coconut. Mango is disgusting. Mango is the devil. If you try and feed me a mango, I will literally punch you in the face. And I don't care if I'm married to you. I will literally punch you in the face. Oh, mango is the devil. Your kids can have all the dang mango they want because I'm going to eat the creamy coconut, which is not just coconut flavored, but has kind of a coconut milk vibe going on. And it's got a little bit of texture to it. So when you bite into it,
you get a little husk going on there.
Yeah, you get husk. That's what it is. A little bit of that coconut kind of textury thing. And they're really good. They're just sweet enough. They're not too sweet. Sometimes the coconut milk will give me visions. If you get that joke, please write into podcast@majorspoilers.com and explain. And secondly, or thirdly, whoever I am in this list, they're freaking delicious. They are fruity and sweet and yummy and awesome. What is that stuff that you drink at the Thai restaurants that's like the coconut milk with
you
the
mean
stuff?
The Thai iced tea?
The Thai iced tea. Can't stand that when it has the same sort of flavor profile in a lot of ways.
Well,
it has
one's
that same
got
sort of.
So Thai iced tea doesn't have coconut in it. Thai iced tea has evaporated milk in it.
And that's not the stuff I'm thinking of, or maybe it is.
It's not. I mean, it's the stuff that I drink when I go to a Thai restaurant. Yes, but
the weird watered down coconut stuff.
It's not coconut. What you're talking about is coconut.
Yeah, this is coconut.
Yeah, but that's Steven, you know when he says that stuff you get at the Thai place, he doesn't specifically mean you, Steven Schleicher, right?
It is because he said my name.
Okay, the stuff.
A Coke?
Thai iced tea, yes. When you go to the Thai restaurant, you get the Thai iced tea. I don't like that. That is just weird to me. This has a similar flavor profile in some ways, and yet it's just sweet enough, and it's not weird to me. And so I like it better than a Thai iced tea. And that's why my number 5 is the Outshine Creamy. The regular coconut is different. Creamy coconut bar thing.
Rodrigo, what do you have for number 5? And please don't start off by saying, Steven, you know when you go down that aisle and you pick out that thing? Because I'll tell you what you're picking out.
Right. You just say exactly that it's like scrubbing bubble spray.
Yeah.
You can't drink that.
You can, but I would.
I should. No, so this list was actually kind of tough for me because I actually don't eat a lot of ice cream stuff. Yeah. And when I do, it tends to just be ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of trying to figure out what are some of the tasty sort of individual novelty treats that I've had in my life. And so this list like actually ramps up really fancy here in a bit. But my number 5 is horchata flavored frozen yogurt, which is already fancy, I feel.
That is. That's like 5 different levels of things.
So I think I like it because it tastes like horchata, which I like. Because a lot of the time when I have frozen yogurt and it's just like the vanilla flavor, it tastes like an ashtray.
Mm.
I don't know. There's just something about the
ashtrays, do you?
Yeah. Well, my grandmother was a smoker.
Oh, that explains it.
And there was no food in the house. So
the butts ain't gonna eat themselves.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how else? I'm doing the environment a favor. Yeah, horchata flavored frozen yogurt takes away some of that kind of weird aftertaste that the vanilla frozen yogurt seems to have. And since frozen yogurt is just secretly ice cream, it's pretty good. I like to put strawberries on it. Again, maybe I don't know if most frozen yogurt places have fresh fruit, but the one that I've been to, again, like once or twice, does. So I like to put strawberries in it and maybe Oreos. I don't know. I don't do this a lot, but yeah, my number 5, horchata flavored frozen yogurt.
For me, you really have 2 things. You have popsicles or you have ice cream. I never really grasped the idea that they're called novelty treats. I guess because they're supposed to be, different besides popsicles and ice creams. And my father-in-law, his favorite gag when he's going shopping is he'll nudge my wife in the arm when they're in the novelty section, and he'll just look at her and hand her like a drumstick or something and say, "Novelty?" And he thinks that's funny. My number 4 is also something that I think is a little funny. The Choco Taco. Which is like a waffle cone that's been laid out flat and folded in half like a taco, filled with ice cream and nuts, and then coated in chocolate. It's really weird. Everyone always, our taco place here in town, always used to have a Choco Taco long time ago. And I was always like, I'm not sure about this. Why would I want frozen meat and cold hot sauce? I'm going to pass. Until one day said, no, try the Choco Taco. And I was like, okay. I bit into it. Immediately it crumbled, fell onto the street, started to melt in the hot sun.
No.
But I ate it. It was pretty good. And I was like, hey, you can kind of have some of the fun of eating a taco, but with ice cream. And so I'm kind of like, again, Rodrigo, I don't eat a lot of ice cream. So my experiences with novelty items are limited. That's why the Choco Taco is my number 4. Because I had it once or twice, and it wasn't horrible. Mm-hmm. Matthew, what's your number 4?
Actually, it was horrible. I've always thought those were horrible. Nonetheless, not my list, not my monkeys. For me, my number 4 comes from the time of my youth when my grandmother would buy all of the food in the house from the local IGA. And she had this thing. And again, you know how I said in number 5, I'm an enormously fat man. I was pretty much an enormously fat child. And so we didn't get really super sweet, ice creamy things in the house. She would only get things that were perceived to be healthy. So instead of ice cream, we would get ice milk.
Oh, yeah.
And instead of a fudgesicle or a fudgicle, to use the DeFazio nomenclature, we would get the Orange Dream Bar. And orange is a fruit. I don't know if you guys knew this. Mm-hmm. Orange is a fruit, and fruit is healthier. So the Orange Dream Bar is basically, instead of an ice cream bar with a crunchy layer of chocolate on the outside, it's an ice cream bar with a sometimes crunchy, but usually just kind of, chewy layer of what's essentially frozen orange juice around the outside of it. So you get orange and vanilla all mixed up together.
Yeah, which is, I think, a horrible combination.
Oh, I love orange vanilla. Vanilla orange is one of my core flavor profiles. It's one of those things where I'm like, if I go to like the Orange Whip, which is actually called Orange Leaf, but I like to make the Blues Brothers joke. Orange Whip, 3 Orange Whips. We would go to the Orange Whip and you get the half vanilla, half orange, and then you cover it with like fruits and things or certain novelty circus peanuts, whatever those things are. You get all that stuff, you throw it in there, you put some chocolate on the top, you have yourself a ball. But an Orange Dream Bar is a very simple profile. It's that simple vanilla, which, as Rodrigo said, tastes like an ashtray, and frozen orange bars, which, as Stephen mentioned earlier, taste like watching your dreams melt on the asphalt. And so it's not just ice cream. It's also a form of existential torture. But it's also fabulous. And the ones that we would get when I was a kid were cheap as F-bomb. I believe they were Blue Bunny. Yes, they were cheaper than Bomb Pops. You would get like 6 for $3, and they were super cheap. And you could see how super thin the layer of orange was around that stuff. And it's just like, they were good, though. They were terrible, and they were good. And I think that really describes my childhood. And that's why my number 4 is the Orange Dream Bars that you could get from the IGA in Beloit, Kansas in 1983.
You can still get those orange bars that have the orange on the outside and ice cream in the center. The kids enjoy them. I don't, because early on in science class, you learn never to mix your acids and your bases. And you can't go more on the acid base side than milk and orange juice combined together. Ugh, you've got a projectile vomit waiting to happen.
It's vanilla. Vanilla isn't just, the base of milk. Vanilla has a little bit of spice and bite to it.
But milk itself, if you're looking at a dairy product.
The upchuck factor.
I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad you enjoy it, but acids and bases. That's why I always look at breakfast cereals when people are like, I'm going to have a bowl of cereal with milk and some orange juice. I'm like, oh, you're just asking for trouble later in the afternoon.
Yeah, and I kind of think of it the same way I think of like drive-in movies or bad kissing in the back of an ugly car. It's something that I did in my high school years that I just can't get away with anymore. So I don't do Orange Dream anymore.
Yeah. Rodrigo, what is your number 4?
My number 4, and before we get into that, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that Steven's science kind of doesn't check out since people's stomachs are acidic anyway.
No, never mix your acids and bases, Rodrigo. Never mix your acids and bases.
Peanut butter and jelly. Jelly is an acid. It's got that ascorbic acid in it.
You do your pH balance test and you'll see just how off a milk and orange juice combo is.
Oh. I have no idea what pH balance test is, but I think it has something to do with hair.
Nope.
It's how you can tell deodorant is for ladies.
There you go.
Exactly.
Anyway, my number 4 is, again, kind of weirdly fancy, but it's only fancy because it's made out of something that's very rare in the United States. And that is, my number 4 is a MAME frozen bar. I don't know if you guys know what MAME is.
Isn't he the guy who painted water lilies?
No.
That's Monet.
Oh.
MAME is a fruit that exists in Mexico, and especially in southern Mexico. And it is like really, it's pretty sweet. It's really silky, and I think just cannot grow above the tropics. Like if it gets too far north, it just shrivels and dies. So it's very rare to find MAME stuff, definitely in the U.S. So it's become, I don't think I've had one of these in probably a decade or more, because they're really difficult to find. And by the way, I do mean the MAME sapote, not the yellow MAME, just for clarification. So yeah, my number 4, like a popsicle type thing of a MAME constituted frozen bar.
Interesting.
I know who MAME is. MAME wrote Glengarry Glen Ross. Yeah,
that's Mammoth.
No, it's in the French. You have to say that.
Yeah, the French version.
Silent T.
Okay. All
like right. Monet or Poet or.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My number Ray.
Mary Kay.
The T is silent.
You have to pronounce the H.
Oh no, that's also silent.
Cray.
My number 3 is actually something that's relatively recent. I mean, it's probably been around for a while. I only just discovered it recently because I don't eat frozen treats that often. But occasionally I will open up the freezer side of the freezer and I will see a box that looks interesting. Like, why are they suddenly putting Snickers bars in the freezer? Don't they know that nougat and that caramel is going to be hard to bite through? And I pull it out and I see, oh no, this is a Snickers ice cream bar. It looks like a Snickers bar, but where you would have the nougaty center has all been replaced with ice cream. And then you have the regular rest of the Snickers stuff in there too. Oh, these are really good. I'm surprised at how good these are. And so then what happens is if I discover that in the freezer, the kids will come in an hour later looking to have some Snickers ice cream bars. And they're like, what happened to the Snickers ice cream bars? They're all gone. And I'm like, haha, that'll teach you. So now they're getting, they're starting to hide all the Snickers ice cream bars away from me. But I like them. Snickers ice cream bars, my number 3. Go check them out. They're pretty good.
I always feel like when we're doing top 5 that Steven is that guy at the beginning of an infomercial. Oh, no. How do I make my old vinyl car top look like new? Snickers ice cream bars. I just love that.
Well, yeah, considering I don't have a vinyl top, but yeah, okay. I am that guy going, oh, look, Snickers ice cream bars. Do you have a pocket fisherman as well, Ron Popeil?
I'm pretty sure there's an ice cream version of most.
Yes,
like
I think
Mars and
I think there's a Milky Way.
Bars.
There's a Reese's. Yeah. There's a Reese's one.
There's definitely a Milky Way. I wanted to say there was one that has M&Ms in it, but
whatever
not like
the Mars
M&Ms.
company, they have this deal going on.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. They're like 2 blocks from my house, and the whole area smells like chocolate. It's wonderful.
What do you have for number 3, Matthew?
Speaking of chocolate, many years ago, before the dawn of time, or in the 1990s, Auto Disaster and I worked in a terrible, horrible job. It was this little hole-in-the-wall television station where we literally used to do broadcasts with the Grass Valley switcher from Star Wars. And remember, that movie was made in 1976. This was 20 years later. We still had that same switcher. So every time we would go to camera 2, I would make the pew, pew, pew noise because we were about to destroy Alderaan. But one of the things that made that hellscape even vaguely tolerable was a young woman named Trish, or as our boss called her, Trish, who would come in every once in a while and she'd say nice things. And she was a sweet, sweet, sweet kid. And she would come in and give us gifts. And one day she came in and had in her hand a box that she described as a little piece of heaven. And she did not oversell it. It was a box of not Dove bars, but Dove ice cream minis the miniatures that were just a little thing. It's about the size of, maybe the size of like the Snickers fun size bars that you get at the Halloween.
Mm.
And each one had that Dove bar chocolate, which is so wonderful. But they had chocolate and strawberry and vanilla ice cream inside. And you could like mix them up and do the thing where you'd like be a Neapolitan, but you'd have that Dove bar crunchiness. I mean, a regular Dove bar is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. It almost made the list, but these Dove minis are so amazing. They're just, it's like, it's not just ice cream covered in chocolate. It's dulce de leche covered in ganache, my friends. It makes me speak bad French and or Spanish. I'm not sure how that sentence began. But the thing about the Dove miniatures is when you get the box, there's like 12 or 15 of them. And you have that problem of how many do I eat?
All of them.
Right. That's what always happens. Because you can't eat 2 or 3. That's not enough. If you eat 7, that's too many. And there aren't enough left in the box to make it worth putting the box back in the freezer. So you might as well eat all 12. It's the same problem when you go and get the actual full-size Dove bars where the box of 3. You could eat 1 and get away with it. You could eat 2 and feel like a horrible pig. But there's 3. So if you eat the 1, you're obviously just going to go and eat all 3 and sit there, swollen and milk-fed like Almanzo's pumpkin and just be miserable all day long. But the Dove miniatures do give you the option to be slightly less miserable in an entirely different way. And oh my God, are they good.
Cool. Rodrigo, what do you have for your number 3?
My number 3, I've only had once, and it was when where the parents of a friend of mine, when we were in college, came into town and they took us to a restaurant. Mm-hmm. I went to school at a kind of a fancy schmancy school. Mm-hmm. I went to college, so a fancy schmancy school. And I had a lot of wealthy classmates. And there were certain restaurants that I would have never really been able to go to ever, except for, parents dropping in to town and being like, let's go get something to eat. And then going to like a restaurant where, it's all in French or, where they hand you the menu and there's no choices. It's like, this is what we're serving you. Because rich people don't want to choose things, I guess. So anyway, I went to one of these restaurants and, I try not to spill anything on myself. And then the last course, the dessert course, was champagne ice cream. Which turned out to be mostly just lemon ice cream, like a lemon sorbet with like actual champagne on it, like poured on top of it. So that was pretty good. And also, I don't really drink, and I'm kind of a lightweight. Mm-hmm. So that's like, I kind of got drunk off of it, and everybody had a big laugh about it. Good times, good memories. So my number 3, champagne ice cream.
There you go. Fancy. Fancy you.
It is fancy. I told you, this list just keeps getting fancier and fancier.
Mm-hmm. My number 2 is something that my grandparents, and my grandfather specifically, would eat on a hot summer night. They were one of those people, there was no central air in their house, and they had one of those giant window units in the dining room, but they rarely turned it on, because once the sun went down, it cooled off anyway, so you'd open up some windows, and my grandfather would sit there and he would eat a fudge bar. Yeah, just this, like, I don't know, it's not really ice cream, but it's some kind of like ice milk that's in a bar form. I don't know what it is about a fudge bar. It's
kind of like a creamy aspect to it.
Yeah. And he would eat those, and occasionally he would share with us. But the fudge bar was always kind of good, because depending on where you keep your fudge bars in the freezer and for how long, sometimes they will build up a little bit of a ice crust on the outside of it. Mm-hmm. And so you would get through that to get to the fudge bar, and then your fudge bar would slide off the stick onto the floor, and then you'd get yelled at by your grandmother. Nice thing about the...
see why you don't eat ice cream.
Yeah, that's probably it, right? I don't eat it fast enough. Hurts my teeth. Cold things hurt my teeth. Mm-hmm. But fudge bars are really good. I do enjoy them a lot. And if someone told me, Stephen, would you like a novelty treat? I would say, do you have a fudge bar? And if they said yes, I would say I will have that, please. Unless, of course, it's my number 1, which we will get to in a moment. But first, we must get to Matthew's number 2.
I want to know why people are offering you novelty bars on a spaceship from that episode of Twilight Zone.
Because
would you like
awesome?
a novelty treat? I guess.
That's what they think humans eat.
That's true. You know, To Serve Man is a cookbook. My number 2 is actual spoiler. It's a 65-year-old episode.
Somebody hasn't seen it yet, and they're suddenly complaining.
Oh, for God's sake.
That's the way the internet works.
You know what I say to the internet? My number 2 is actually something that I kind of identify with personally, in that, much like myself, it's sweet as hell and cool as ice, and maybe just a little too much with the nuts. And it's making a second appearance in recent Top 5 history, because I think it was also part of my Top 5 summer foods, and that is the chocolate drumstick from Nestle. The drumstick is basically an ice cream cone that you get in a bag, and it's got a little waffle cone, and the cone has ice cream stuffed in it and chocolate at the bottom. And if you get the chocolate kind, it's chocolate ice cream, and then the top has a hard candy shell with like walnuts or peanuts or something on the outside. So you get the crunch, you get that hard chocolate, and then you have the going down, you get all that, whatever that is. I don't know, is it flour? I don't know what they actually make ice cream cones out of. Probably polyurethane. The same stuff that they, use to clean combs.
It's made out of spackle.
Spackle? Okay.
Yeah.
So you get the spackle, which is a nice kind of, you get a crunchiness and a sort of an aftertaste to it. No, you don't get soggy with a drumstick. You don't get soggy with a drumstick. And I think that's because of the special shellac that they put on the spackle. Shellacked spackle actually is my favorite flavor. But the thing about your drumstick that's wonderful is it's an ice cream cone that is entirely portable because it's contained. You bite through the shell, and the shell is still there to hold the stuff in. So as it starts to melt, you still have containment, and you can eat your way down. And then you got the cone to contain the rest of it. So you don't ever have to stand with a single lonely tear rolling down your face as your bomb pop melts into the sewers of Kid City.
There is not a single tear rolling down anyone's face when a bomb pop falls into the street. It is literally a flood of tears.
A flood of tears.
A flood of tears. A never-ending stream of tears that are red.
Red tears.
And then they transition to white, and then they transition to blue at the end as they drip off your chin and into the sewer to join the clown and the balloons and Billy and everything else that floats down there, except your bomb pop
floats down here, Bill.
Yeah.
But yes, the chocolate drumstick. The vanilla is okay. The caramel is like last stitch. The caramel is like, you can eat it, but you don't necessarily want to. So when you get down to the bottom of the box and there's only caramel left, you're like, fine, I'll have a yummy treat. It's like that. But the chocolate is number 1. It is amazing stuff.
Cool. Rodrigo, what do you have for number 2?
My number 2 is, again, just progressively fancier. Have you guys ever had like a nice like chocolate truffle?
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever had a chocolate truffle with ice cream inside?
I have not.
Well, you should try to find a way to do that, because it's kind of everything that's great about a truffle with an additional chili treat. You have to have them cold. So I don't know. Real truffle connoisseurs might be like, it's too much, or if you chill the truffle, it takes away some of the truffle flavor. I don't know. I'm not clearly I'm not a truffle connoisseur. I've been to one fancy restaurant in my life and I got drunk off the ice cream. So, but yeah, chocolate, it's like, I haven't had very many of these in my life. Truffles in general, and ice cream truffles I've only had once. And I was like, man, that was a lot in one bite. Like that is like, that was like a whole different order of magnitude of density than just like some ice cream. I was not expecting to be so thoroughly overwhelmed by just like something that fits into my palm like that. So my number 2 is ice cream truffles.
Cool.
I wouldn't eat truffles when I was a kid because I got them confused with the fungus that pigs snort in there.
The actual truffles.
And I'm like, why? Yeah, why would I want a chocolate covered mushroom? That's just gross.
Now, since then, have you had anything containing like actual truffles, like fungus truffles? Yeah,
I've had truffle oil on something, and it was maybe a little overpowering, but it was okay. I mean,
yeah,
I had
truffle oil really is pretty intense, and I think it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never had like actual truffles. I think again because I'm not fancy, except when ice cream's concerned. Apparently,
there you go.
There you go.
We have made it to our number 1s, and now everyone is fishing through their freezer section trying to find something yummy to eat. And my number 1 is pretty straightforward, pretty plain. It's the one that isn't going to fall off the stick.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one you kind of still want to leave in the wrapper, though, as you eat it. But it's got some kind of a chocolatey graham layer, and it's not really even a graham cracker, but it's got a chocolatey layer, and then you got a big old thick slab of vanilla ice cream, and then you have another chocolate layer, and it's a sandwich. The ice cream sandwich. The one and only original ice cream sandwich, which has gotten smaller over time. But, occasionally the wife will be like, hey, do you want me to pick up something for you? And I'll be like, I could go for an ice cream sandwich, and she'll come back with a big old box of ice cream sandwiches. And then by the time I finally get around to eating one, everyone else has eaten them. There's only one left. But that ice cream sandwich, that once-a-year ice cream sandwich, is certainly a treat. And I do enjoy that plainness that is the ice cream sandwich. Can't go wrong with it. It's just perfect.
Wrong with it.
It's a little sandwich made of ice cream. It's just a sandwich. Nice. It's yummy.
You should have sandwich once more.
Sometimes you can get some Doritos and some pickles, and you make a little lunch out of it. Ice cream sandwiches.
I would
Matthew,
not do that.
What do you have for your number 1?
My number 1 is actually a relatively recent concoction by the fellers at Ben and Jerry's. Ben and or Jerry. Those are the fellers. And it's interesting to me because I didn't necessarily love Ben and Jerry's ice cream as a rule.
You didn't like the Chunky Monkey or the Cherry Garcias?
A lot of times you'd get it because it had like weird wacky flavors. You'd be like, this one's called American
Ripple?
Sink Butt or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ripple Cone is one. The one
What's the
Americone
one that's the
Dream.
salty chocolate balls?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's a flavor that they have.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it really?
It is, really is.
Okay, that sounds terrible. I don't want to eat that. But they actually recently came up with this brilliant thing. Instead of selling you the little pint of ice cream in the little pint box, right? They will sell you pint slices. And what it is kind of like your ice cream sandwich. It's actually very similar to a Klondike bar, to be honest. It's their weird ice cream flavors. I'm sorry. It's their weird ice cream flavors. And each one of them is enrobed, if you will, in like a crunchy chocolate shell. And you get a box of them with 3 slices, which is roughly the equivalent of that pint of Ben and Jerry's. So you'd have the 3 little slices, and you can just take them out. They're in a little wrapper, so you can eat them. Again, portability, non-falling in the street ability, and they're really, really good. And I always get like the, I think it's chocolate double fudge or chocolate fudge brownie or something.
That's the one. That's pretty good.
Yeah, chocolate with fudge brownie in it, and then a chocolate area around it. And it's crunchy, but it has that, that texture of ice cream in it. You don't have to dirty up a spoon, which means you don't have to clean a spoon. You don't have to throw away a carton necessarily. Well, I guess technically you do. But the thing about it is, unlike a pint of Ben and Jerry's, it's natural portion control, which means that instead of sitting down and eating a carton of Ben and Jerry's and saying, oh, I wasn't paying attention, you sit down and you eat 3 slices of Ben and Jerry's, and you have to admit to yourself that you meant to do that. That is exactly how the evening was going to go. You and John Oliver and a whole bunch of frickin' ice cream. And you feel better about yourself because you're honest when you're
and also the sugar high.
Yeah,
exactly. Your endocrine system is going, which is wonderful. And of course, the best part about it is it's chocolate with chocolate and chocolate, which I don't know if you know is actually my perfect flavor profile. Maybe a little bit of truffle mushroom in there would probably make it terrible. My number 1 though is the pint slices from Ben and Jerry's, the chocolate fudge brownie, chocolate covered chocolate and chocolate.
So if you do a search for Ben & Jerry's Chocolate Salty Balls, you will come up with the holiday 2011 edition of Sweaty Balls.
I don't want to eat either of those things.
Sweaty Balls has vanilla ice cream with a hint of rum and loaded with fudge-covered rum and malt balls.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Sweaty Balls.
As a person who cannot not make stupid references, when corporations do it back at me, I turn into a 16-year-old guy, and I'm like, that is so corporate. Sellouts, dude. They can make the same joke back to me. And that literally they would be like, it's David MAME Crunch. And I'd be like, shut up, Ben & Jerry's. And that's
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what would happen.
Rodrigo, what do you have for number one?
My number one, as you guys have seen, this list of mine just keeps getting fancier and fancier. And my number one is probably the peak that you can get as far as a cold treat, as far as I'm concerned. And that is an effed up Ninja Turtle.
An effed up Ninja Turtle. Now, this isn't one of those weird green ice cream bars that have like the spray painted on red and green and purple.
It is. It absolutely is. You go, you hear the ice cream truck, you run up and you're like, give me an effed up Ninja Turtle. And they hand you a little popsicle that on the cover, on the wrapper has like the face of your favorite Ninja Turtle, Michelangelo, Leonardo, whoever you want. And then when you open it, you see that its eyes are like all out of whack, and it's not really smiling so much as grimacing in pain.
And its mask doesn't look so much like Raphael's friendly red mask as just like a swath of blood.
Just spray painted it on.
Eyes.
Yeah.
Like one of the angry Indians from Westworld.
On what is unknown to most people is that there is a correct way to eat a character-based ice cream bar, and that is you open it from the bottom, and then you slowly remove the wrapper, and you say that character's catchphrase in like a Golem voice as it is revealed. So, you open it, and then you're like, I does machines. Or you get precious. Yeah, exactly. Or you get like a Sonic one and you start to pull it out. It's like, gotta go fast. And obviously it doesn't even have, it's like missing one whole eyeball, and the other one is like pointing up as far up as it can go, like past its actual eye. It's just its eye, it's embedded in one of its spikes. The number one sort of seasonal ice cream treat that you can get is an effed up cartoon character. My choice is an effed up Ninja Turtle because the Ninja Turtles have actually never been out of what do you call it when it's food? Not print.
Out of style. Out of
style, I guess. Ever since they kind of exploded in the 80s, there has been some sort of Ninja Turtles property. So there's always been Ninja Turtles ice cream.
Yep,
that's true.
My number one, an effed up Ninja Turtle.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The top 5 novelty treats that you can enjoy year-round. All you got to do is poke around in that freezer section. And if you go to the right spooky convenience store, poke all the way in the back and discover the big frozen treat that's hiding back there. Top 5 novelty treats. Here's what you need to do. Head over to majorspoilers.com, and in the comment section for this episode, share your top 5 novelty treats. Maybe it'll encourage us to go out and eat more ice cream, Rodrigo? Maybe?
Maybe.
Or maybe it will promote ridicule from Matthew. Oh, I don't like that one. But regardless of what kind of response you get, everybody's going to read it because everybody loves a list. We'll talk with you soon.
This podcast is copyright 2018 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.